A no-nonsense White House reporter just slammed Donald Trump live in front of millions and flat out called him a liar. Once again, it's about tariffs and the uncomfortable truth that it's not foreign governments footing the bill, but the American consumers. Let's take a listen. Here we go.
Today in the Oval Office, Andrew Feinberg, once again, asked the best question of anyone in the White House press corps.
On tariffs, you just said with China.
Who are you with?
I'm with The Independent.
Oh, that's good.
It's on tariffs. You just said with China. We charge them. We charge them as in we charge China. But the tariffs are paid eventually by American importers and consumers.
Finally, a White House reporter confronting Donald Trump with the truth about tariffs for the first time ever. What's Donald Trump going to do? He's cornered. American tariffs are paid by American consumers. The truth that everyone in the world knows except Donald Trump and, I guess, Trump voters. Donald Trump, when he was cornered, did what he always does when he's cornered. He lied.
The tariffs are paid eventually by American importers and consumers.
No, they're not. No, I think they're paid for by the country. But, you know, look, we can get into that.
And that was the end of that. It's like saying gasoline taxes are paid at the pump by us when we buy gas for our cars. And Donald Trump says, no, they're not. The sad truth is, we don't actually know if Donald Trump is so deeply stupid that he believes what he is saying. I leave it to you to decide which would be better, a president stupid enough to think that foreign countries pay American tariffs or a president who knows the truth but lies about it.
Well, that's nice of the host with his razor-sharp delivery to boil it all down to just two options. Either Trump is incredibly dumb or a deliberate liar who is actively trying to hurt American consumers. But maybe, just maybe there is a third option. That America is so powerful, smaller nations are forced to negotiate on your terms. Look, sure, Trump is a liar, okay, no question. But in this case, he actually said straight up, I don't think so. That wasn't a lie, it was his belief. And let's be honest, you, all you, the United States, the 50 states, are still the most powerful force on earth. Yeah, there might be some countries trying to form an anti-terrorist alliance, but seriously, what are the chances? The second one of them breaks the ranks and cuts a deal with America, the whole thing falls apart. And Trump knows that. That's why he keeps hammering the same point. Sooner or later, there won't be any cake left. And when everyone's hungry, the first one to grab a slice wins. That's why I think some of you journalists underestimate their own country, even if they cannot stand Trump. Anyway, check this next part out. And hey, if you appreciate this kind of outsider perspective from a German guy deep in your media bubble, hit the subscribe button. I mean it, every single one of you helps. Thanks, let's keep going.
When Donald Trump made the mistake of calling on Andrew Feinberg for the first question of the press conference, he heard the best questions asked by a White House reporter this year.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier today, you told me that you believe that foreign countries pay tariffs, but Americans who are concerned about higher prices believe, as most people do, that they're paid by consumers and importers when they import things into this country. Can you explain how you came to this belief that foreign governments are paying tariffs? And for the Prime Minister, did you discuss with President Trump his repeated statements of desire to annex Canada? And has the King expressed any concern over the President's apparent desire to remove one of his realms from his control?
Wow. It doesn't get better than that. Both of those questions were perfect. And yes, sadly, Canada is part of the realm of the King of England, who unfortunately still appears on Canadian currency. So once again, Donald Trump was cornered. Can you explain how you came to this belief that foreign governments are paying tariffs? That is a perfectly phrased question. And Donald Trump had to be the first of the two to answer that two-part question.
So I'll go ahead. The first part, the tariffs are necessary because we've been treated very unfairly by many, many countries, including our friends, friend and foe.
Donald Trump went on to speak 150 words without ever answering the question, how do you come to this belief that foreign governments are paying tariffs? And in those 150 words, he didn't say that foreign governments are paying tariffs. He didn't bother to insist that foreign governments are paying tariffs when he got caught like that. He just talked in circles until he felt he filled up enough time, ending with this.
But I will tell you, it's going to make our country rich, and it's going to stop us from being a laughingstock all over the world because we have been taken advantage of like no country has ever been taken advantage of. Thank you very much.
There was it again, the little dopamine rush when a rigorous reporter takes a clean swing at the president. For a second, I feel taller, smarter, like Justice got a jab in. But let's get real for a moment. Yes, Trump's lies. It's not even up for debate. Lying is his favorite move. If Trump were a boxer, he would have a horseshoe in his glove. Dirty, but effective. And sometimes that edge gives him just enough of a lead. Because while America is unbeatable in many ways, look closer. And the cracks are obvious, especially in trade. German economics, cold-blooded, rational types. They say the US runs on a chronic export deficit. Why? Because protectionist trade blocs squeeze the system, while America plays global supermarket. Translation? You're living on credit. Trump is trying to stop the bleeding, the American industry from getting outsourced, while the US stays the world's biggest buyer. Sure, that sounds convenient for now, but long term, that's a bubble. And bubble burst. What happened when the world says, hold on, we ship you real stuff and you hand us fiat currency that's backed by nothing and printed like there's no tomorrow? When that moment comes, God help America. Anyway, if you want to hear how German economics actually rate Trump's trade strategy, drop it in the comments. But before we got there, I've got one more clip you have got to see. Roll it.
Donald Trump is a laughingstock all over the world for claiming that tariffs he imposes are paid by foreign countries instead of American consumers. If Donald Trump puts a tariff of 50% on a Samsung TV coming into this country, then you will pay 50% more for that TV. Tariffs are sales taxes. That's all they are. And the buyer pays the sales tax. And the man who is a laughingstock all over the world is the only head of state in history anywhere in the world who believes he has the power to tax other countries.
You know, for a network that calls itself progressive, MSNBC sometimes feels oddly stuck in the past. No offense, but after the World War II, the US accounted for nearly 50% of the global GDP. Today, after decades of globalization and an open information world, other regions have caught up. America still leads, sure, but you are now down about 25%. And the trend is not going in your favor. Why? Because America has a consumption problem. You buy more than you sell. You run on credit, and that's not sustainable. So when that very Polish anchor says, Trump wants to make your theory more expensive, he's not wrong. But maybe he could also say, guys, we are living in borrowed time. Sooner or later the bill will come due. And the fact that he doesn't say it, that's what bugs me. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you appreciate this outsider perspective from Germany, hit the subscribe. I will be around. See you next time. Ciao.